Good afternoon, everybody. Hello there. Hi, Miriam. Good afternoon. Thanks for your help, Miriam. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, Wendy. I hope you can see and hear me okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Are you nice and warm? Hello, Catherine. Hello. How are the fur babies? I'm hot before the start. Hello, Hope. How are you? Good afternoon, ladies. Good afternoon, Roz. How are we? Good afternoon. Can you all hear me okay? Do we get a thumbs up? Hello, Janet. Hello, Margaret. Good afternoon, everybody. Hello, Paul. Hello there. You're very welcome, Susan. Thank you for inviting me. Good afternoon, everybody. I'll wait a few moments before I do the speech. Hello, Steve-O. How are you? Hello, Karen from Canada. I love how we have so many people from different parts of the world. Thank you, Miriam. So good afternoon, everybody. I'm just going to wait a few moments to give everybody a chance just to find us because I'm in a different place today. Hello, Diane. Hello there. Isn't it a beautiful afternoon? Hello, Sarah. How are you? Good afternoon. Hello, Serena. Hi, Lynn. Good afternoon, Janet. How are you? Hello, Nikki. Hiya, Carolyn. Hello, Raina. Good afternoon, everybody. Hello, Ali. I'm just going to give it a few moments for people to catch us. It does take a few moments. Fur babies are cute. We're outside and Louis is on the chair near us. I might frighten him off, Catherine. Good afternoon, Carol. Hello there. Hello, Sue. This is what Susan's given us. She's given us a discount code. Tracy Evans Facebook Live. That's the discount code. I was trying to test you. It was a bit of an exam. Hi, Pat. Good afternoon, Lorraine. Hello there. How are we all? My faithful followers are here. Thank you, Karen. So kind of you. See, I told you some people would take time to find us. I'm glad you found us, Liz. Hello there. When you go in a different place, it gets confusing. You should try going live and you go to different Facebook pages and then they all look different, especially when you're a technophobe like me. You have to ask Susan what it's like. I've been absent from class for a while, miss. That's okay, Sue. Not a problem at all. We've just had a heavy downpour here in Black Country. Oh, ours is beautiful here, Pat. We had a bit of rain earlier, but we're okay. Hello, Anne. How are you? Yes, I'm still tired, Janet. I think I'm in one of those tired moments. Tracy Evans, Facebook Live. That's it, Margaret. That's it. Have you got your earphones in? Sitting in the sun with hubby in the garden. It's beautiful. So yes, the lovely Susan. First of all, I need to thank Susan for inviting me to actually demonstrate on the Country View Crafts Facebook page. She must be mad. Does she realise what she's letting herself in for? And also thank you to Miriam for all your help, Miriam. Now, the lovely Susan has given us a discount code which is valid until Monday evening at 23:55, and the discount code is TEFBL. Tracy Evans Facebook Live, all uppercase, no space, but I've just done that so you can see the letters clearly, and there's a 10% discount code. The sun is back out, is it, Pat? Yay. I don't know whether I am a little less tired, Anne. My words are slurring. So yes, so this is what we're going to, I will mention the discount code throughout the live just so that you remember. This is what we're going to create today, and it's really textural, such a textural piece. I love it. Hello, Joe. Hi, Sheila. Are you looking forward to some fun, Sheila? I'm hoping I can keep my words coming out fluently. So this is a lovely textural piece, and the idea here is to give you a different way to use all your products. Maybe not just to stamp them, maybe to do something a little bit different. Hi, Joe. How are you, Flower? Heavy rain in Kings Winford, but the sun is out now. Yes, I'm very hot, Leslie. Hello, Steph. Hello there. So it's such a textural, one of those tactile projects. You know what I'm like, but it just goes to show that your stamps can be used, and your stamps and stencils can be used in lots of different ways. So it's a real tactile piece. Hello, Lynn. Hello there. Good afternoon, Lucy. See, there's still people joining us. It's one of them pieces that I love. Hello, Kate. Hello there. Hello, Burnett from Holland. Welcome to the Country View Crafts Facebook page. Hello, Lynn. It's one of them pieces, Anne, that's really tactile. You know how strange I am. You know how strange I am. I hope you're going to be your usual on Facebook. No, I'm not being good, Janet. For a start, I've lost my words anyway, Janet. Hello, Lucy. How are you? Thank you, Paul. Thank you. So we're going to do something a little bit different with the stamps. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a circular canvas. You know what I'm like for my circular pieces. And this is the stamp set that we're using. We're using stamp set 320. You know how much I love this stamp set. I've been using the Strelitzia and the Pear quite frequently. So I'm loving this. Had trouble getting on. Oh, wow, Wendy. I think you have to go to posts, don't you? Or something like that. So, hello, Serena. I don't know whether I said hello. Yay, Vanessa. Hello there. Hi, Corrie. Welcome. So we're going to use the Pear stamp. And I'm going to use a circular format. You know how much I love the circular formats. So for those that have just joined us, the lovely Susan has given us a 10% off discount code. And the discount code is TEFBL. Tracy Evans Facebook Live. Nice and easy for you. The top part was a bit browner, but Tracy has rubbed it all off. Eh? I missed that. So Anne says, hi, Corrie. So right, we're going to start. We're going to use Olga's stencil. So let's just move this out of the way. We're going to use Olga's stencil, Stencil 91, Panache. Panache. It always sounds really posh, that does, panache. There you go, Lucy. Lots of circle boards to use. Yay! So I'm going to use Olga's stencil, which is Stencil 91, and the lovely Miriam is putting links up for us, which is really helpful because I look really efficient then, don't I? Unlike on my Facebook page where we're all going, what's the link? So Miriam's making me look very efficient. Hello, Linda. Hello, Linda. Welcome. So I'm going to use my texture paste over my stencil. So I'm going to apply the texture paste. So if you want, you could apply it totally over the whole lot, but I just want to use half of it. Oh, on the piece. Sorry, Serena. So I'm just using half the stencil, and I'm just applying the texture paste nice and evenly over my stencil. And as you know, I don't keep rubbing over the stencil. I apply it. I told you I can't get my words out. I apply a good thick layer of the texture paste, and I don't keep going over the same area. I just pick up more texture paste, and I just want a random feel to the, was Panache an 80s perfume? Yes, it was, Kay. Panache, I had some. Hi, Christine. Hi, Sue. So what we've got then is we've got a beautiful, detailed, stenciled element to our circular piece. Just look how fantastic that stencil is, just with the texture paste. So I'm just going to clean up a little while we have a chat. Let me just find my wipes. Just find my wipes. And what you could do is, while you've got the texture paste, you could get a spare piece of card, which I will. I'll get a spare piece of card. Just take my spare piece of card, and we'll just move the stencil out of the way. And what you can do is you can take the stencil and then you can apply the texture paste over the stencil. So you can just dab that over the piece of card, just so that you don't... Did you struggle finding a Sue? The circle size is 8 inches, correct, Catherine? It's 8 inches. So you can rub over that texture paste just to give some more texture to another piece of card. So don't waste your texture paste. Make sure that you use the excess texture paste just to use that on a piece of card, because when that dries, you can then paint over that. So I'm just going to clean my stencil just so the texture paste doesn't dry. Hello Michelle, hello Lee, hi Kim, welcome everybody, welcome to the Country View Crafts Facebook page. So we're just going to give that a wipe. I'm just making sure my stencil, because it's a beautiful stencil, I don't want to lose all that detail. So I'm just giving it a good clean. That's the thing you need to remember with your detailed stencils. Just make sure you give them a good clean. But look at all the detail you could get off the stencil onto a piece of card. So don't ever waste that texture paste. Plus I've got half of it on my hand. Difficult to get that texture paste. I don't know whether Sue, perhaps Miriam's got some texture paste that's a good texture paste on the website. But I know some products are difficult to get hold of at the moment. I think it's all to do with the corona thing. Some products are not being delivered. So we're just tidying up a little bit, and then we'll just bring in our canvas again. So as you can see, it gives a lovely textural feel. And then what I'm going to do is grab some more. I don't know what I've done with my palette knife. Let's get a different palette knife. So what I'm going to do is apply a little bit more texture paste. Hiya Lee. So what I'm going to do then is just apply some texture paste around the stenciled area. But you don't want to apply it too thick, just so that it's quite random. Like you're buttering a piece of toast, you just want to do it quite randomly. So just take a little bit more texture paste. It's the Tracy effect. Bless Serena. So we're just adding a little bit more texture paste over our substrate, and just butter it so that you've got some open areas, so that you leave some open spaces. So we'll just remove the excess of the texture paste. And luckily I've got one that I've done before, so we don't have to worry about that. We have got one that I've dried before. You can mix gesso and cornflour apparently. I'm terrible, Christine. I don't make my own. I like a good texture paste. I'm a bit fussy when it comes to texture pastes. I'm sorry. I'm very fussy when it comes to texture pastes. So let's just move this out on one side. Just move this to one side. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get our stamp set, the wonky pear. And I just need a spare piece of card. So I'll just get a spare piece of card for our wonky pear. It's clear gesso like hen's teeth. I've got some clear gesso, but that was from ages ago. I wonder why that's so difficult to get hold of. My nana had butter with toast that was a millimetre of... Oh no, Janet, I can't eat a millimetre thick of butter. Blech. I don't have proper butter anyway. I sort of have the spread. I just can't. Ugh, no. So what I'm doing is I'm inking the pear stamp, and it can be with any ink because the lines are not going to show. The wonky pear, numbers heartfelt. Correct. Spot on, Hope. So I'm just inking my pear. Well, not my personal pear, but I'm inking the pear. Oh, I'm off. I'm on Country View Crafts Facebook page and I'm off already. So we're just going to ink the pear, and you're just stamping this onto scrap paper. Oh, does it come from the US? I didn't realise it came from the US, the clear gesso. So I'm just inking and stamping. Just allow that ink to sit and rest on the card, just so that you get a nice, clear, crisp image. So I'm just allowing that ink to sit. And it's only the pear image that I want. Gutter talk hits the screen. I forgot myself, Sue. I forgot where I was. I have to keep remembering I'm on Country View Crafts Facebook page and not my own Facebook page. I'm terrible. I really am terrible. So there we go. There's our beautiful pear. I have got a beautiful pear. There you go. So we're just going to dry that. So I'm just drying that. Hello Linda, how are you? Inking your pear, exactly. I am. I'm inking my pear. You see, Sue's not used to this gutter talk. So we're just going to cut out the pear. I didn't cut one out before because I wanted to show you that it's so easy to cut out. There's nothing difficult about cutting the image out. So we're just cutting out the pear. You're not at home now, Tracy. Yes, I have to keep remembering. Well, I am at home, actually, Lucy. I am at home. It's just that I'm on a business page and I need to remember I'm on a business page and no gutter talk. I'm just terrible. I need to remember that I have to be professional for Sue. I've forgotten how to be professional. That's the one I've got. Liquitex. Sorry, I've got the stupid giggles as well. I have to try and control myself. So I'm just cutting out the pear. And we're going to use I'm trying to give you as many ways to use the same stamp set as possible, just so that you realise how versatile your stamps are. But you could do this technique with any of the stamps, any of the stamp sets, so you could use the same technique. Is it on your wish list, Steph? Oh, brilliant. Thank you. And then you can keep saying that you're inking your pear while you're talking to yourself like I do all the time. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the canvas that we created, and I've got 3 pieces of stripped card because professional. You see, even Miriam says, laugh out loud, professional. Even Miriam knows I don't know what the word professional means. You see, it's a sad sign, really. So I've got 3 strips of card because the strips of card are going to add another texture to my canvas. So I'm going to adhere these on top of the texture paste, and the texture paste will also help it to stick. So press this into your texture paste. Would the ink go a long way? It wouldn't on mine, Steph, trust me. So I'm just adding the strips of card, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my wonky pear onto the canvas. Onto the canvas. I'm sorry, Miriam. I'm so immature. I'm just so immature. Oh, you know we love you. It's a good job, really, isn't it, Miriam? Poor Sue has invited what she thought was a professional onto her Facebook page and then ends up with me. It's just a nightmare. Poor Sue. I am still waiting on a Chanda for delivery, but I now have my wonky pear. Yay! So you can do this, Hope. So apply your wonky pear on top of your canvas. And for me, this is where the fun begins. This is the fun bit for me. So take your texture paste and you're going to sculpt your pear. You're going to sculpt your pear, and you're going to add texture paste. So imagine doing this with the Daisy Elegance, for instance. Imagine doing this with the Daisy Elegance. The wonky pear works beautifully, but imagine doing it with your flowers as well. So you're sculpting your image. Was she like that as well? Oh dear. So you're actually sculpting your texture paste. You're adding your texture paste to the shape of your pear and just adding it all over the pear. And what you're doing is you're adding a dabbing motion. You're dabbing the texture paste so that it adds lots of texture, so peaks and troughs. So you get these lots of troughs like icicles, just so that you get lots of texture. But if you did this with all your stamps, it gives you another technique to use with all those stamped images. So just apply. Now what you can do, you can dry this texture paste if you want, but for the best effect, it's better to allow it to dry overnight or for a few hours, just so that it's nice and solid. I think you need some texture paste soon. So just make sure that you add these peaks and troughs. And I love this because I find it so therapeutic, and it means that you're using your stamped images in a totally different way. And if you fancy treating yourself, lovely Sue's given us a discount code for 10% off. Bless Sue. So we're just going to add that texture and mess with it. This is one of them pieces that you really can mess with. You can add lots of peaks and troughs. And it's one of them things that's so therapeutic. I just love it. I love doing it. So we're just going to keep doing this as well over your leaf. I see why you don't take... Can you see why I don't bake, Diane? Don't take the mickey out of my baking skills. I don't need to bake my pear. I'm just texturising it. So you're texturising with a palette knife your actual stamped image. You're actually texturising it and sculpting. So this is called stamped sculpt images. So you're sculpting them with your texture paste, and you just take your time. You don't rush the process. See, they're taking the mickey out of my baking skills already. There's nothing wrong with my baking skills. I think that'd look beautiful as icing. Don't you think it'd look lovely as icing? I think that'd look really good. So can you see, I'm just going round my leaf, and it hides all that stamped imagery. So you've got the shape, and it just gives a different feel to your stamps. It's just something a little bit different for your stamps. I just think it gives them a new look. And we're always looking for different ideas. And this is why I always think that stamps are so versatile. Stamps, for me, are just one of the best tools. I know I'm biased, but I think that's why I designed stamps, because I know I can use them in so many different ways. Oh, have you found us, Lynn? Have you found us? So I'm just going to clean my hands, because I've got loads over my hands. Hello from Somerset, Georgina. Hello there. Welcome. So I'm just giving myself a little clean over. Texture paste, Catherine, yes. So as you can see, you've now got your image over all the textural. Probably break a tooth if I think icing was that thick. Listen, we're not baking, we're doing stamping. Stop taking the mickey out of my baking skills. Gesso has not got the same thickness, Catherine. Gesso is what I use for a primer. Obviously, some gessos are thick, but with texture paste you get these peaks and troughs. Most of the time, gesso isn't thick like this, thick and gloopy. You need it thick and gloopy so you can create these peaks and troughs, so you get these lovely textures. That's why I adore texture paste. And if you wanted to, at this stage, you could add some gears, little embellishment. You could add embellishments inside the pear. So you could add gears, little pear embellishments. So you could add stuff inside. So if I bring in my project that's dry. So we bring the project in that's dry. So this is one I've done earlier, and it's lovely and solid. It's so solid, absolutely rock solid. So it's just lovely. It's just, I thought, Paul, it would just, I'm racking my brains, Paul. This little pea brain of mine, it hurts trying to rack my brains. So didn't use either before, Catherine? Oh, brilliant. Crackle paste would work beautifully as long as you work on a sturdy substrate, because you're going to add paints. You have got to fill the gaps, Tracy. So as you can see, I've got gaps here in my texture paste, but I've got a lovely sturdy piece. Nice and sturdy, that is. So what I'm going to use now is I'm going to use 2 fresco finish paints. Is it sturdy? It's sturdy, Lindy. Sorry. I know you're taking the mickey out of me. Oh dear. So you don't, what does Lee mean? You have got to fill the gaps, Tracy. You've got to fill the gaps. You need to explain to me, Lee. So I'm now going to use mud splat and heavy cream, but you could use any colours that you want. You could do it in bright colours, but for me, I love the vintage tones. So what I'm going to do, I just love the texture. Replying to Neat. What did Neat say? I missed that. Where's Neat? Some comments are so far up and I'm like, I missed Neat's comment. I missed what Neat said. I bought some of the all-purpose filler to try. Yeah, you could try that. You need a sturdy platform. Taking the mickey means they're making fun out of me, Hope. They're making fun out of me. Because I like my sturdy pieces. So I'm now going to add the fresco finish paint. So add your fresco finish paint and you need to add a good layer of the light colour. So whatever light colour you decide, you need to make sure that you apply a good coat. Make sure you're getting all those crevices. So give that a good dry and over your card as well. Just give it a good dry. Sturdy. Oh, come on, you know what I'm like. I love sturdy pieces. I don't like limp. I don't like it when they're all limp. They have to be nice and solid and sturdy, even my cards. So when you're doing the texture paste, use a good pouncing motion. Oh dear. Use a good pouncing motion so that you get in all the cracks and crevices. So that your paint gets in all the cracks and crevices. So just stipple to make sure that that paint goes in all the texture paste. So give that a good pouncing. I can't use any other word, that's all there is to it. So I'm now just making sure that I add that. Behave, Lynn. I'm making sure that it's all covered. Okay? So make sure that it's all covered with your cream paint. My phrases, there's just no hope, is there really? Oops, Tracy's off again. That's a fact then. It is hope. So just make sure that you cover in the light colour, whichever light colour you're using. I'm using cream, so I'm going to dry this layer. Just dry this layer. But with it being a fresco finish paint, it dries quite quickly. You don't want me falling off the No, it can't fall off the mantelpiece, Lucy. I don't like them limp cards that fall off the mantelpiece. If they fall off the mantelpiece, I'm sorry. Cheap and nasty, no. I don't do fall off the mantelpiece pieces. That just doesn't appeal to me at all. So what you need now is a couple of wipes. Hope I'm here. You are here. Are you going to make a little book with all the Tracy phrases? That's going to be a dangerous book. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to use my mud splat. Use your mud splat, but only do one area at a time because these paints dry quite quickly. So just do one area at a time. Just do one area. And it doesn't matter that your paintbrush has got some cream on. Just don't let it dry, but just keep going over areas. And you want some dark areas and some light areas. Just some dark and some light. And just go over your canvas. And then when you've done about that much, take your baby wipe and just wipe some of it back. Just wipe some of it back. Like so. Just so that it doesn't stay completely dark. Just keep wiping it back. Just lightly. I could publish in America with translations, of course. The Americans would wonder what the heck I was talking about. I'm already known as being slightly odd. So you just go over and you take your time. Don't be in too much of a rush to do this stage. Just take your time to add this stage. Just a little bit at a time, and then keep wiping over. Because this paint dries quite quickly, you do this a little bit of an area at a time, and then you get the definition from all the texture in the texture paste. Your cooking has gone to a new level, mud pie. Hey, I'd be good at mud pie. I'd be perfect at mud pie. I love a good mud pie. So just now, go over your pear and go, make sure you're getting all the crevices of the pear. And then bring back the pear, just so it brings back some of the texture. So you just wipe over the pear, and you just take your time to do this. You're not in too much of a rush. You're just taking your time. And you keep rubbing over, adding paint back in, rubbing back over, adding paint back in. But I'm sorry, look at the texture on that pear. Give it a little dry. Give it a little dry. But you see, for me, these little crevices on here, just amazing, amazing. You give it a little dry and then you add a little bit more paint. So you're doing a little area at a time. And this is not a process that you rush. You don't rush this process, you take your time, because that's how you get the best layers. I told my husband I was chuffed. He just looked at me. Not a phrase we use here in Canada. Didn't he know what chuffed meant? That, you see, I'm chuffed with this project. I love this project because I love vintage tones, and I can really get in there, and I can leave some dark areas. And because you've got a nice sturdy piece, it'll take a bit of rubbing. So it takes a bit of rubbing. But where I've dried some bits, it sticks. I just love that. I love that it sticks to the card. Just love it. And you can go over your pear, and we can define that pear a little bit more. So don't worry, we can define that a little bit more. I love the word chuffed. Chuffed is a great phrase. I love chuffed. And because you've let this dry, the texture paste dry overnight, you can really give a good firm rub, and it won't affect. And this is from a stamp. You'd never know it was a stamp. It's just, I just love it. So you just keep, I mean, look at the texture there. Just look at that. And then you go round and you tidy it up. You tidy your plaque up. You tidy your canvas up. Just brilliant. And because it's nice and sturdy, you can give a good firm rub wherever you want. But just look at the texture on that pear. We're never going to be bored, are we, Lucy? Hey, Leslie, a Boston piece. A Boston piece. You see, things like this, where the card has got the darker and the lighter layers, I just love that. Where it's got dark and light layers. And what you can do is you can pick a bit of paint up and you can go back again. Go back again and add some darker areas to your edges. So you can add some darker areas. And then you just keep going back. You don't rush this. Nobody understands me when I say Boston. I do. I understand Boston. So you can just keep doing this over and over again. But what I like is, look at the texture paste here, where the texture paste is missing, and then you get those dark edges. Just love it. Love that. It's the kind of thing that makes me happy. It really does make me happy. So, and then we're going to define it a little bit more. So let's just tidy up a little bit, just so that we can define it a little bit more. Just need some kitchen roll. Just get some kitchen roll. Like so. Bring this back in and just give this a little dry. Obviously, if I was at home, I would play with this a lot more. I would play with it by adding light and dark areas. So give it a dry. Give it a dry. We haven't finished yet. There's still more work. So what you need to do then is, you either need an Inktense pencil or a Stabilo All pencil, and you need to go around your pear. So go around your pear with a Stabilo All, an Inktense pencil, a watercolour pencil, something that you can activate with water. So just go round your pear just to define it a little bit more. Just to define it more. Thank you, Miriam. Yes, there's a fabulous discount code from Susan, which is very kind of her. She's offering a 10% discount code until 23:55 tomorrow. So you just put in the code Tracy Evans Facebook Live, TEFBL. So I'm just going around my pear with my Inktense pencil. Just going around just to define it a little bit more. And I will activate that with water, because this will just emphasise a little bit more. So just imagine doing this with some of your flower stamps. I mean, that would look amazing as well. It would just look fab. It just gives you another idea. So then activate with water. Just activate around your canvas, just to add a little bit of shading to that canvas. Just so the pear pops a little bit more, just so it pops. And then we've still got things that we need to add to our canvas, just to bring it to life. So just add a bit of shading around your canvas. And this is what I love doing. Look how it just runs down here. Oh, I just love that. I love that. You need to have a well-defined pear. Absolutely. I could do with a well-defined pear myself. I must admit. I wouldn't mind a well-defined pear. Mind you, at my age, I don't think there's much hope at all. So we're just going to... we're just going to keep going round, just to keep adding some of that definition around the pear. And these are the little touches that I just love doing. And those paint colours work so beautifully. I love them. I'm so thrilled with the pear using it this way. I want to do everything now. I want to do this with every stamp set. So I just love it. I just think it's fab. So I'm just making sure, just take a bit of colour off my... There we go. And that just emphasises it a little bit more. With good peaks. Exactly, Joe. With good peaks. But that just looks fab. So what I'm going to do now is go back to my stamp set, which I have dumped somewhere. There we go. So I want pear and fruit. So I'm going to add some calico pieces using the same stamp set. And we're going to add some background stamping. So I want to add some background stamping with stamp set 304. You know I adore this stamp set. Stamp set 304 and stamp set 350. Stamp set 350. I'm going to add some background stamping. So I'm going to use these two stamps. And I'm going to use Gathered Twigs Distress Oxide ink or Vintage Photo. So either one would be fine. I'm going to add a touch of background stamping. So I'm going to begin with stamp set 304, just to add some background stamping. I just adore this stamp. Especially when I'm doing mixed media pieces. It just adds a little bit of detail where I want it. I love it. My video keeps going off, lost from pear being textured to Inktense, and now it's off again. Oh no, neat, that's not good. That's not good, is it? Yeah, exactly, Serena, with the tribal stencil. So I'm just adding some background stamping, but just look at the stamping with that texture, how it all comes in. Things like that make me happy, where the texture paste is missing. Oh, I love stuff like that. And that pear, the way it's got the dark colour in the peaks and troughs, I'm sorry, that just makes me so happy. I just love it. Absolutely love it. So I'm now going to stamp some of the numbers. I'm going to add some of the numbers to the background. So I'm using stamp set 350, and I'm going to add some of the numbers in the background, because you know I love adding numbers, but I just like adding them as an extra element to the canvas. It just gives an extra texture to the canvas. For me, it gives another layered element. We're all different, but I just love the layered elements in the canvas. So I'm just going to add some more numbers. You see, when I look at that on camera, I just think, wow. If you wanted to, you could add some gilding wax as well. If you wanted to add gilding wax, you could. But I like the vintage feel, so I'm keeping the vintage feel to mine, because I like that vintage feel. And we're going to take it up another level. But look at the little numbers. I just love those numbers. Just think they work so well. So we're just going to stamp round the canvas just a few touches of the numbers. You need to give that a dry, because you're using the oxide on a canvas, so just give it a dry. So you could add some gilding wax if you wanted, and you could pick up some of the texture with the gilding wax, but I want a real vintage feel, so I don't want to do that. But what I am going to do is I'm going to go back to my cream paint, and I'm just going to add a little bit of the cream paint around the outside edges, just to give it a touch of vibrancy, just to the edges of the canvas, like so. You won't see it too much on the lighter areas, but you will on the darker areas. On the darker areas, it'll bring a little bit of lightness to your canvas. So just wipe that over your textured area where you've done the stenciling. Just add that, so you go over a little bit over the edges, and you're smudging like you'd smudge a crayon. You're smudging your paint like you'd smudge a crayon. So just smudge that all around the background, and that just brings a little bit of lightness. And if you want, you can dab off the excess, and you can even add little bits of the lighter paint over your dark areas. So you can go over and just add a touch to lighten, but that's entirely up to you. You can do that as well. I tend to use my fingers for a lot, so I do love, and the paints work beautifully for this technique because they dry nice and quickly. Then I can do a small area at a time and it works perfectly. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to add my number 4, which is from, let me get my pack, which is dumped on the floor. This is from the Urban Layers. This is Urban Layers, a Tim Holtz product. And what I like about these is you get so many bits in the packaging. It's just packed with stuff. But it's got these large numbers. Can you see on the background? It's got large numbers in the background, but it's got all these other bits, which, you know me, I'll use all them anyway. But I wanted to use a large, bold number in the background. I would never ever come up with this on my own. Oh, thank you, Lucy. Thank you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this bold number 4 to my background, because I really want to pack a punch. I want to pack a punch with the number 4. So I'm just going to adhere that, and we're not going to leave it like that. We'll just add some paint as well, but we'll give that a few moments to just stick. So I'm just going to add this to my background, and these numbers really do pack a punch. They really do pack. But we're just going to give that a few moments to dry. The millionaire Tim. So I'm just adding that, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some calico pieces because we've got some fabulous sentiments on the Pear stamp. So I'm going to add some sentiments in the background just to give me another texture. So I'm going to ink the Pear text, going to ink the Pear, and then I'm going to stamp that on calico. I haven't got enough room on my desk, but you know what I'm like. So I'm just going to add the Pear like so on the background. Thank you very much. So I'm just going to add the Pear, and then I want another piece of calico because I want to add another word as well. So let's get another word. I want to add three words. So I'm going to use the word fruit as well. Does Country View Crafts sell salad spinners? Hey Steph, I never thought of that. Miriam, it would be helpful if there was a link to your shop on... Yes, Miriam, if you want to put a link to Country View Crafts shop page in my group, that's absolutely fine. And then you can announce there's 10% off in my group as well, Miriam, if that's okay. Because Miriam's got nothing else to do other than run around after me. So, there you go. I need Miriam full time. So I'm just going to stamp the word fruit. Even I can add that to the group later if needs to be. I have only just got the pen. I was going to start simple, but I'm going to dive straight in. Yay, Lucy, I don't blame you. Trust me, Lucy, you won't be disappointed when you do it. It's such a tactile thing. It's fabulous. So I've got fruit, and then let me bring the Pear stamp in and move this out the way. On the Pear stamp, there's another fantastic stamp piece. This text I cannot stop using. I can't stop using it. So another piece of my calico, and I'm going to stamp the word plant. Oh, you need to use it, Sue. You do some fab projects. So I'm just going to stamp the plant on there as well, just onto my calico. The calico is going to give me another texture to my design. So I'm just going to tear. I'm just trying to think up ideas that you can try with your stamps, and just to prove that stamp sets are super versatile. So just move that out the way. You have to share. Do I have to share, Judy? And Ros is still looking for something for you and Steph. Oh, what are you looking for, Ros? I missed that bit. Miriam's used to me. Miriam knows exactly what I'm like. Everyone needs a Miriam. Exactly, they do, don't they? Could you imagine? I'd look so efficient on my Facebook page if Miriam put all the links up. Can you imagine? I'd look dead efficient. So I'm just going to tear. I just want to make sure that I just add some frayed edges to the calico, because this is going to give me another texture to my design. And you know how much I love frayed edges. Your calico's really hard to tear. Oh, I don't know why. I've bought different kinds of calico. I don't know what my others like. But this one seems really easy. Once I snip it first with my scissors, and then I tear it. But I do have to snip it first. I can't do it without snipping. So there we go. We've got all our words. We've got loads of fibres as well. So let me just put that in the bin. And then bring in our canvas. Oh, you see, I just love how textural this is. So we can now add our words. So just deciding where you want your words. But this just gives another texture. Oh, thank you very much, Miriam. You see, Miriam's added a link to the page. Thank you, Miriam. Bless you. So we just add that to the background, like so. And I love it when projects make me happy. And sometimes, you know, you have projects that you look at and you think, no, I'm not happy about that. This is one of them projects that I genuinely love. I absolutely love it. I love the texture. I love the layers. I love the fact that the stamps can be used in a different way. Hello, Akina. Hello there. Sorry I missed you before, Akina. I was concentrating. My calico doesn't tear like yours. Oh, wow. I didn't buy a special calico. I just ordered calico. I don't know why it tears so well, but I didn't definitely order a special one. So then what I'm going to do is just move my stamps out of the way. And then I'm just going to add, look what I've got. Index clips. There had to be index clips. You knew that anyway, didn't you? And Miriam is for life, not just for Christmas. Oh dear. Miriam is for life, not just for Christmas. That is so cute. So I'm just going to add my index clips to my projects. Now you didn't expect index clips, did you? Just apply that like so. I just love this. We have muslin and that's hard to tear. Oh, I thought muslin was easy to tear. Perhaps they knew that I was a bit of a weakling and I needed something that was easy to tear. They know how much of a weakling I am. So let's just wipe the edge of my glue. So there we go. You know how much I love my index clips. And then what I'm going to do is go back to the cream paint. Go back to the cream paint. And just take a tiny touch and add that to your index clips. You've got to make sure your index clips look part of your project. Don't be in too much of a rush. And then what you're going to do is just add a little tiny touch of paint to the number. Just around the outside edges. Just to your number. Just so that it looks part of your project. Even though you want that boldness, must be down to the weave, exactly. Susan has index clips, yay! So it's just down to personal preference. I like to add a little bit of paint to mine. And I'm just loving the textures on this. But these are the kind of projects that make me happy. They really do. And obviously when you're at home, if you want to dry your texture paste, you can, but you'll get a better effect if you allow the texture paste to dry completely. You'll get a lot better effect because you can really give a good rub. Calico comes in different weights. You need the light to tear. There you go, Linda tells you need the light calico. They arrived this week, Jennifer. Brilliant, brilliant. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add a little bit more blob of paint, and then I'm going to take my fan brush and we're going to spritz the paint with water, and then we're going to splatter some cream paint over the background just to lighten it up a little bit. And you do know that you'll end up with splatters everywhere. But if you're doing a Tracy project, you end up with, you want splatters. I'll set my egg timer for the Tim Holtz clip. So just give that a nice splatter. So I'm just using a nice big fan brush just to add a splatter. And then what I do is I go and I look at my project. I don't want that watered down paint. So just remove that. I look at my project and think, right, I just need to add a little bit more of the cream paint. Just around the edges. Just a little bit more. So I'll just go round again. And this is what takes my time, is doing the final touches. I don't rush the final touches. But I'm hoping this project has given you a different idea with those stamp sets, just to use those stamp sets in a different way. And if you want to tag me and Susan in the project from the Facebook Live, that'd be lovely. And if it's okay with Susan, I will add this to YouTube as well. I'll add this to my YouTube channel, just so that you've got it and you can look back on it. So I'm just adding a little bit more cream paint. I love the cream. I love the cream. But I've got enough lightness on my pear, so I don't need to add any more. And if I just lift the project up so you can see all the textures and the layers, just like this, and that is our project completed. Let me just take, my camera's going a bit blurred. There we go. So just let the camera catch up. I'm getting another phone, so hopefully it'll be a little bit better. But as you can you see all those textures? So just lovely. So if you're inspired by the Facebook Live, if you want to tag me, that'd be wonderful. And I'm sure Susan and Miriam would like to see them as well. But that just shows you that amazing texture. I love it, Ros. I'm so pleased with it. I absolutely love it. And if you think the longest time is waiting for it to dry, nothing else, it's just waiting for it to dry. But for me, these dark areas on a piece of card, I just love them. Oh, thank you, Gina. Thank you very much. So I had to rack my brain a bit. But it's just to give you another idea with those stamp sets, because I don't want your stamp sets to sit on the shelf. We need to use them. Let's get using them stamp sets and get creative. So if you want to tag us, that'd be wonderful. So thank you once again to Susan for inviting me along. Thank you to Miriam for all your help. And just a little reminder, if you buy anything from the Country View Crafts webpage between now and 23.55, you can have this discount code and you get 10% off. So it's TEFBL. And if you forget, it's Tracy Evans Facebook Live. So I've really enjoyed that and I'm so chuffed with it. I'm so chuffed. Oh, thank you, Stefania. Thank you. I love it. I just love it. I'm so... I know it's weird to be pleased with your own project, but I love how tactile it is. And if you bring in the original, project, there you go. And each one looks different each time you do it. Because I've added the texture paste differently each time, it just looks fab. I love it. Oh, I'm glad you've not seen it before, Margaret. It's so hard thinking up something new. So I'm really pleased with that. So I'm really pleased you like that. So thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for your company. Thank you for joining me. And I will see you in a couple of days because I've got to do some work for her Chanda. So I will be back in a couple of days on my usual Facebook page. So thank you very much, everybody. Thank you to Country View. Thank you to Susan and Miriam. And I'll see you all shortly. Have a lovely afternoon. Have a lovely afternoon, everybody. And if you'd like to share the project or you'd like to share the Facebook Live, that'd be much appreciated. Thanks so much. Thank you. Bye, everybody. Bye.